Today, I'm going to unbox Saigon 75 from Nuts Publishing. Since I did Vietnam from Victory Games recently, I thought it was only fitting to conclude the week with Saigon 75, which is the conclusion of the Vietnam War of sorts. This is, after the U.S. Forces pulled out in 73. However, they continued to support the South Vietnam. However, that support eventually, faltered, and the North Vietnamese army took over Saigon. And there's a famous image, remember it from my youth, of the helicopter uh, evacuating the U.S. Personnel, all remaining U.S. personnel, and they actually captured that in this box cover right there. If you take a look at that, there's that infamous picture there of the evacuation and the helicopters on the roof. So this is it's a different kind of game in that it is not your typical hex and counter war game, which Vietnam from Victory Games very much was. I mean, it wasn't your standard game, because Vietnam War was not a standard war, so there was a lot of special rules in that. But this is a card. Not necessarily card driven, but definitely card implemented or card assisted game. And as you can see here, you have the components and everything in here. They look like something out of possibly a coin game. And that kind of prompted me to pick this up, because it kind of attracted me is the different aspects of the cards and the components and the conflict. There's not a lot of games that cover the the fall of Vietnam, after the U.S. presence. A lot of games cover the beginning of it, and even the precursor, with Dien Bien Phu and the French. But a lot of times the games really don't go beyond the U.S. military involvement, and this game does. And so that attracted me to the game too. Also, it can be played solitaire. It's a two-player game, but there is a built-in system. Again, since it's card based, it's easy to do, or it's easier to do solitaire systems with the cards. So there's a card based system for solitaire play, where the deck is going to represent the North Vietnamese, and you're playing the South Vietnamese, trying to hold out. So let's take a look at the back of the narrative here a little bit and see what this has to say. It says Saigon 75 is a fast-playing two-player strategy game with one player controlling the communist forces of North Vietnam, as well as the Viet Cong, the NV player, and the other, the liberal forces of South Vietnam, SV player. The game is played on a map of southern part of Vietnam, divided into 20 provinces, as well as an area corresponding to Cambodia, Laos, and North Vietnam. The game takes place over a maximum of 8 turns, each representing a season of 3 months. The aim of the NV player is to take control of Saigon province, while the SV player wins by retaining control of Saigon at the end of turn 8. So it's kind of a holdout situation. Every turn, the player must play an event card from their hand. The number of units a player may move and or attack with is determined by a die roll. Combat is resolved by each player rolling their battle dice, and I think there's some special battle dice here, if you can see that. Looks like it's got some. It's not your 1 to 6. Combat is resolved by a player rolling a battle dice, which is determined by the number of casualties taken by the enemy, as well as retreating units. So there might be a little bit of the Academy Games system in that regard. Maybe there's that system has a little bit of attack and retreat type stuff with special dice, but we'll see when we look in there. The game is highly asymmetrical, with the NV player having more activations, a higher proportion of favorable events, and the ability to launch attacks across a wide front, while the SV player benefits from air support and paratroop and mechanized units. A dedicated solo mode uses a deck of solo cards to enable a single SV player to take on an automated NV opponent. All that sounds interesting to me. So let's get in the box and see what we have here. I'm starting to pick up a few more games from Nuts Publishing. It's a European publisher, and I've enjoyed the games that I have picked up from them. Good box there, nice thickness. Here are the bits. Oh, look at that. You got a bag of wooden bits there. Look at them. Get my silica intake for the day. We have a bag, a lone bag to put stuff in. There are the special dice. As you can see there, you got people retreating, and you got some hits there, it looks like. Okay. We have a regular die, individually wrapped. Okay. We have some cards. We'll get into those. We have, let's see what else we got in here. Pop it out a little bit. Ooh, we get a mounted map. That looks nice. And then we have a rule book and a playbook. Let's look at the rule book first, which is, looks like it, I don't see, 18, 19 pages. Looks like this is an example of play here. Different size rule book. It's not standard size, but not overly large. Good size font though. Very nice large font. Color graphics in here. That's nice. You got a background. You have your summary, components, and setup. And then you have a setup of the board here, something you see in a lot of Euro games. And this one feels a little Euro-ish with the wooden bits and components, but you know, very nice looking nonetheless. And sometimes these the wooden bits and components, especially like these cylinders and stuff, that looks like something out of a coin game, um, add a tactile feel to it. You know, I mean, we play war games with counters. We like pushing counters around, but having a nice solid bit in your hand is nice as well, or interesting as well. Here's your sequence of play. Movement, stacking, combat, retreat restrictions, bonus battle dice. And they have like the different players, like SV for South Vietnam and NV for the North Vietnam player. They have those highlighted throughout the book here. Air unit attrition, province control check, SV desertion, objective tokens, special rules for turn 8, check victory conditions, and then you have your solo mode right here, which is 1, 2, 3 pages of solo rules. And then you got the example of play. So nice rule book there. Let's see what the playbook looks like. This is kind of nice. I like you have the sequence of play on here and summary of special capabilities. You know, again, this is asymmetrical, so the forces are going to have some different capabilities. And then we get the Chronicle of a Death Foretold, South Vietnam, 1972-1975. So a little bit of historical context here. That's really nice. I like that. And then you're going to have an explanation of some of the event cards. That's a bonus that you get with card-based games, you know, whether it be, you know, States of Siege or Coin or CDGs, that there's the ability to have some historical text and historical context on the cards itself. So you feel like you're not only playing history, but you're learning history at the same time. And here's another example of play here. Wow, so you get two examples of play, it looks like, in here. That's nice. Don't see that every day. All right, let's pop open the map, because that's going to be a bigger feature than the bits. Nice mounted map there, as you can see there. We have, I'm going to go up Periscope a little bit here. Get a full look at this. There you have it. So it looks like we have a turn track here. We have an SV desertion table, because I mean this is the end of the war. They lose the support of from the U.S. Congress, so they're losing all hope, and so there's a huge desertion issue going on here as well. So you have some holding boxes here for reserve pool. You have event card holding box. Looks like you have some other charts here. So and some other charts here. So you have a lot of quite a few charts that are on the board, but the board still looks nice. You're going to have these 20 provinces, and then you've got Cambodia and Laos and everything off to the side here. So very clear, clean, and crisp. It's a little bit of a muted or duller color. If you looked at my Vietnam video from earlier in the week, there was more, colors that jumped out at you to denote the different terrain. This one, terrain's not an issue because it's huge areas, but it's still, I like the color of it. I like the look of it. So let's look at some of the components here. Let's go in a little bit. We don't need to go that far up to look at dice now, do we? So we got some dice here. This is the special dice. As I said, it reminds me of the Academy games. Which like Birth of America. I was trying to look over on my shelf. Birth of America. There was like 1775 and 1812 and 1754. All those games had a system where you use cubes and you rolled battle dice, and you got a retreat result. Then that unit retreated, or if you got a hit, you got a hit, and the forces were asymmetrical. Some forces did better than the others. I wonder if this has the same system there. Plus, you've got some aircraft in here. Let's see what the bits look like here. Let's see, nice cubes there, or octagons, or cylinders, I should say. As I said, they have a little star on one side. Again, that somewhat reminiscent of Labyrinth or some of the coin games. Here's my silica. Save that for later. Got some smaller cylinders here. All the different forces. Here we go. God, I got a big star there. Look at that big white star. It's a long one. And then you got little red stars. I wonder if that's like for control. Then some regular cylinders. And some more cylinders. Some different colors here. Looks like they all have stars on them. Then we have some arrows here. That's interesting. I wonder if that's like for attacks and stuff. And some, looks like those are those planes. See if you can see one of those. I can always pop one out. It's not like they're sealed in there. Here we go. There's a plane. So a lot of bits there. And there's not that many cards. I mean, I expected with the fact that this is there's also a solo. I thought they said there was a solo deck. Maybe they use the same deck, and maybe there's just some different notations or different references on the cards to let you play solo play. These decks are hard to get into, I'll tell you that much. Good, decent cards, similar to what you're used to in games like this. I mean, not overly thick, but not so thin that they're gonna, crinkle up. There's a solo. Huh. Maybe that's the priority there. Solo card. There's more solo card. I thought there was only. Oh wow, most of this deck is solo. So there's your solo deck right there. So it looks like there's an event card priority, movement, use of objective tokens, and combat. So I think you just follow these cards, and that's going to play the North Vietnamese forces, which is the NVA and the Viet Cong. Then you have all these different event cards here. So I think this is probably, with the size of this deck, I imagine it's more card assisted than card driven, because there's not that many cards here. I think these events just affect your turn. There's only 8 turns, so it's not like it's an overly long game. So there's that. And I think that is it. That is it. That's everything that you get in a box of Saigon 75. Keep on thinking of the Paul Hardcastle 19 song where they repeat Saigon several times. I'm not going to sing it. I know you guys want me to, and gals, but I'm not going to do that. Anyway, that is what you get in a box of Saigon 75. Looks really interesting. I like this. I like what I see so far. It's somewhat minimalistic, but yet interesting nonetheless. How am I going to set this out here where you can see it all, but yet there we go. How about that? We'll do that. There you go. That is what you get in a box of Saigon 75. If you guys have played this, love to hear your thoughts on it. What do you think about it? If you played it solitaire, even better. Like to know how it plays solitaire. Drop your comments down below and let me know what's going on. I do find that Vietnam, does lend itself to different kind of treatments. You don't get a lot of the standard hex encounter type games. There's Hearts and Minds, which has been republished by several different people. That does a little bit different treatment. There's the coin version of Fire in the Lake. And that actually has an expansion called Fall of Saigon. So the expansion actually does probably go up to the same time period. So there is something. There's at least a couple of choices there to go up to 75. But coin is yet a different approach, and not your standard hex encounter type game. So it's interesting that Vietnam, that designers feel a little bit more freedom to explore this space with different perspectives, points of view, mechanics, and components. So anyway, that's what I have for you today. Thank you so much for stopping by. Best way I know you stop by is by dropping me a comment and letting me know what is on your mind, more specifically about Saigon 75. But if there's other things, feel free. Just keep it civil. Take care. Thanks for watching.